So here goes. We're going to take you through my personal strength workout. So as a martial artist and as a coach, I need to be strong, I need to be fit, I need to be healthy. And what we're working on is on that strength part. So we're working on my strength training. So first of all, my strength training that I did in my 20s isn't going to be the same as I do in my 30s or my 40s or my 50s. It needs to evolve and it needs to change. And I can't afford to get injured at this point in time, especially when we're in lockdown. So it's important that I do exercise that have a risk averse, but give you the best option for increasing strength, maintaining strength, whatever you need to do. So we're going to do time static contractions. So there's the time, so there's a time that we're going to do them, and the time that we're going to do is 1.5 minutes, 1 minute 30 seconds. And how we're going to know that is I use a timer. Don't know whether you can see this. This is a pace timer, and I'm just going to turn it on so you can hear. So, and you hear the clicks. So each click is a second, and you can see it going through the seconds. So that's what I use as my pace timer. So I know how many seconds I've done in the exercise. So that's time. Then static means there's no movement. There might be a slight movement, but very little movement. So there's no movement. So again, if you're doing a shoulder press and you're lifting something up and down and you have a heavy weight in your hands, then if you're halfway up and you can't do anything else, you can't push it up any further, then you're sort of stuck at that and you're trying to get it off your shoulder, then that's the difficulty. With this, there's no weights, it's body weight, and it's using your jiu-jitsu belt. Okay, so it's time, static, and then contraction. When you're pushing a bar out, there's going to be a point where you're going to come to failure, and you're contracting your muscles to get them to work, pushing, and you're not going any further, and that's that element that we're going to build in. Okay, like any training, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. So the beginning, we're going to use 50% of our power. Then in the middle, we're going to use 75% of our power, and then for the last 30 seconds, we're going to go all out. So that's the three elements. So the first part of the exercise, 50% power. Second part of the exercise, so it's 30 seconds. 30 seconds, we're going to go for 75% power, and then we need to go to 100% power for the last 30. And if you're doing it right, you'll be burnt out after 1.5 minutes. You don't have to go hard. You don't have to do multiple sets, and I think it's just one set's going to work, especially when we're in lockdown. It's going to work really well for you. Okay, so the second part of that is I'm using my jiu-jitsu belt. So we're going to use that. Now, what I do when I'm traveling and I'm not teaching jiu-jitsu, I use this, which is a forklift strap, and basically it's used for moving furniture, but it has these wee points in it where I can, instead of gripping with my hand, I can put my forearm through, and I can do a lift with my forearm as opposed to my hand, which changes the dynamic of some of the exercises. So when I'm traveling, you use that as well as my belt. So I'm going to do a very basic one for you to start with. Most people when they're training, and I do my whole body, you know, from top to toe. Most people when they're training, they'll work their chest and they'll work their back and they'll work their glutes and they'll work, you know, their thighs. Some people will do their calves, some other people don't do their calves. Okay, but a lot of people don't work their neck. And building on what we did yesterday, which was the text neck, how to fix text neck, people need to strengthen their neck muscles. Okay, so if you don't have a strong neck muscles, then when your head drops forward, it's going to be quite sore. So we're going to build those muscles. Also, if you've ever been in a car crash, you'll know that you feel fine, and the next day your neck's sore. You have whiplash because your heads went forward and back. So we want to build again muscles in the neck. And what this exercise, it has a secondary effect that it builds the muscles of your triceps. Okay, so we're going to build the triceps, and we're going to build the strength in the neck at the back. And there's different ways to build the neck, but we're just going to do it one way today. So before we do it, I want to just sort of give you an overview of this time static contraction and how it works. So what we're going to do is, if you can ask you to put one hand this way, one hand that way, put your hands together. So it's basically, can you see it? It's like that. Okay, so one hand here, and put your arms level with your shoulders and just compress, just push a bit, 50% power. So you'll start to feel your muscles starting to work. So you should feel out around your chest, maybe in your biceps as well. Start to push a bit harder, and then start to push a bit harder, and you can feel the muscles working. Now nothing at all is moving, nothing's moving, but the muscles are working. So it's a very safe way to do it. If you were doing the same thing, if you were doing it with dumbbells and you got as far as you could, then you go to full muscle fatigue, you have to drop the dumbbells. So that's where injuries can happen, and also you haven't got any dumbbells probably at home. So we're going to work on this with the belt. So all you're going to do, and there's two ways to grip the belt. I'm going to do the easier version just today because I've been working hard this morning and I'm going to work hard later. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it. So I'm going to wrap it. So I have a belt in sort of that sort of position. So it's wrapped around my hands. I'm going to put it at the back of my head and come to here. So that's the position I'm coming into. Now, if you're a martial artist and you want to build your grip strength, then don't wrap it. So it's just purely grip is going to work on it. So I'm going to wrap mine. And again, you can use a yoga belt. You could even use a towel for this. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put it behind the head and we're going to come into that position. So there's the position. So you can see that what's happening is I'm using the strength of the head to push it back and the strength of the triceps to pull it forward. And that means that we're working one muscle against the other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the timer on. And I'm just going to set the timer in front of me, and we're going to go for the 30, 30, and 30. So the 30 is about 50%. And that would be if you're doing a set of weights. Imagine we're doing 15 reps, and 15 reps is our max. What this would be is equivalent to the first 7 reps, where you're doing them, but they're not that difficult. Then the next bit where you go 75% is equivalent to the next 7 of the reps. And there's 7, it shouldn't be 7, it should be 5. So the first 5, and then the next 5, and then the last 5 we're going to 100%. That's the last part of the set where you're really pushing. Okay, so that's what we want to see. Okay, folks, watching this is not great because it's boring to watch it, but actually doing it, so because of the video, just switch the video off, get a towel, get a strap, get your belt, and try it out and see how it works. We're going to build the muscles of the next, we're going to build the tricep. Okay, and a lot of people as they age, they get this sort of crappy skin at the bottom. I don't know what do you call it. You can post below what you call it, but the arms get flabby underneath. This helps to stop that. Okay, doesn't matter whether you're a martial artist, whether you're sort of just into general fitness, or whether you've never done any fitness at all. Doesn't matter whether you're 20 or you're 70 or you're 80, because you're just going to your own personal best, not worried about what everybody else does. So there's no ego involved with doing this, because basically everybody's got the same thing. They've got a strap, a belt, something like that, and they're doing the same exercise. So it's really down to you push yourself as much as you can. There's breathing involved in this, as is involved in everything. Two things you want to do is you want to try and keep the grimace off your face, because that sends the pain receptors in the brain start, when you grimace, the pain receptors think you're in stress and create more stress hormones. So we want to keep the grimace off the face. We also want to do the breathing a bit better. So make sure when you're breathing, you're still breathing into your nose, and you can breathe out your mouth, or you can do it like little bursts, like that. But we want the quicker breath in and the slower breath out. And again, as I've said before in other videos, when you breathe in, when you breathe out twice as long as you breathe in, it calms the brain and it calms the nervous system. So that's what we want to stay calm the whole way through it as best we can. Okay, so one more description of it. Put that behind your head. We want that about that angle, and we're going to start pushing, and you'll see my face will change a wee bit, maybe go a wee bit red, but I'll keep breathing all the way through it. I'm going to have to, because of the way I'm videoing this, I do have to come out of it a wee bit from time to time to look down. In fact, bear with me, I'm going to put this up on a better level. So I'm just going to put the timer at a better level so that I can see the timer without really looking down too much. So I can just take a wee glance off to the side to see the timer. So put in position, either wrap or don't wrap, whichever you prefer. Put it behind your head. I'm going to sit down a bit so better in the camera. And what I'm going to do is I have to take my time out. So I'm going to count these in, and it's 50%. You ready? So it's, let's go. And there we go. There's going in. So it's 50%. So you're just feeling your head pushing back. Your head doesn't move forward or back. It stays in the same position, and you're pulling forward with your arms. So you start to feel it maybe a little bit in your triceps. So we're 15 seconds in. Okay. So we're going to change it up I'll give you a 5-second count in, and we'll change it up to 75%. And then you start to really start to push a wee bit more after that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now we're up to 70%, 75%. Start to push a wee bit, so you start to push the hands through, push, 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 and start to push the head back. Nothing should be moving, just keep on working. And obviously I can't go as hard as I should, because I need to talk. Okay, and we're going to change it up to 100%. This is where all the juice is. This is the power in it. And so I'm going to give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and push as hard as you can. Push, push, push. 15, really push. Last 5. And done. Just ease out of it. So just ease out of it, and that's you done. So you should feel that in the back of your neck and possibly on your triceps. So in real terms, there's no exercise needed. You could do that sitting watching TV if you wanted to. It's best to do it when you're not watching TV, when you're 100% focused on what you're doing. But really easy exercise to do. So easy, it's unbelievable. So you'll feel that in the back of your neck. The harder you worked, the more you'll feel it. So that's the first thing, that's the first exercise. We're going to do the second exercise. We're going to do the biceps. Now, as I say, I have a full body workout, but you know, some of the exercise, the likes of the, well, some of them you need to have the belt against the door, or tied around a handle, or tied around something that doesn't move, and I just don't have the ability to do that. When I'm in a hotel room, I can find somewhere to tie. What I can do is I can tie the belt and then close the door over it and then work on the door. Okay, so we're going to do this one, which is going to be the working your biceps. So anybody who goes to the gym, they'll know how to do a bicep curl. So you just curl up and down, up and down. And what I see a lot of times is people are swinging their hips to get their bicep, get this working, or pushing forward to get it working. It's time static contraction, so nothing moves, just nothing moves. So what I'm doing is I'm going to put my knees, so up, you see it? I'm going to put the belt under my knees, so I'm just kneeling on the belt, and that means the belt doesn't move. Then I'm going to bring the belt up, and I'm going to wrap it around my hands. And again, folks, if you're just watching this, it's just like you're not going to get a feel for what it's like by just watching it, you know, and you're not going to get any improvement. It's like reading a book about martial arts and thinking you're a martial artist. You gotta actually physically do it. Okay, so if you watch it, do it side on, and if I just roll this arm up, I'm not the biggest guy in the world. You know, by nature, when I was young, I was very skinny, and there's no point in me trying to put on muscle for muscle's sake. You know, it's more functional for me to keep fairly lean, and as you age, the leaner you are, the better. Okay, so you'll see the muscle starting to kick in. So I'm just going to show you how that works. So the more I pull, the more you see the muscle starting to kick in, and that's what we want, the muscle kicking in. And again, first 30 seconds, not too hard, 50%. How do you know what 50% is? You don't at the start. It's only when you've done this a bit you'll understand what your 100% is, then you can work down from that. But really you're just hanging out there and working through the technique. Okay, so we're going to do the same again. I'm going to get the timer fixed, and I'm going to count you in. So just a recap on what we're doing. We hold the belt here. I'm holding it up maybe a wee bit higher than I would, but it's because the camera's where it is and the angle. I don't have my shoulders right here, I have my shoulders in here, and I'm just going to be pulling up. Yeah, so that's what we're doing. Don't forget, keep the grimace off your face, keep your breath. Always in through your nose, never in through your mouth. Yeah, it creates panic when you breathe through your mouth, and you want to breathe into your belly. And I'll do another video on breathing maybe tomorrow. Okay guys, so we're going to work through this. So get your belts in position. Again, if you're not in, you're not going to know how it works. So here we go. So I'm going to put the timer on. You're going to start. and it's 50% power, and go. There's a timer clicking through, so I'm just going to set myself up. I'm going to go with it, but I'm not going crazy into the exercise because I need to be able to talk to you. So there we're in position and we're starting to push up, and we're into 15 seconds, and you're pushing against it, but you're not pushing that hard. And now we're into 20. Remember, I'll give you a 5-second count in, and then we're up to 75%. Okay, so you should be starting to feel that a little bit. Now 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now start to push 75%. Okay, 75%, you start to feel the muscle squeeze. That's time, we're doing it for time. Static, we're not moving. And then contraction, where we're contracting the muscles. So let's push it, push it, push it. And I'm going to tell you when to move it up. And when I say move it up, really move it up. I want to see it. Well, I won't see. I want to know that your body's shaking. Okay, when your body's shaking, you know you're working hard. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and start to push, 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 push. Really push, 100%. It's as if you're trying to break your belt. Try and break the belt. Push through, push through, push. Come on, keep pushing, keep pushing. That's 10 seconds in. For me, I'm starting to shake. I'm gonna have to change my breathing. 5 seconds, really push. And ease out of it. Always ease out slowly. Go into the technique slowly, come out of it. And I can feel it in my bicep, but I can also feel it in my forearms. Okay, so that's your next exercise. Oh, there we go. Okay, so, and you'll feel that in your biceps and you'll feel it in your forearms. So, as a martial artist, I don't want to be focused solely on strength, because it's not about strength. You can be the strongest person in the world, but if you can't bend down and touch your toes or tie a lace on your shoes, there's not much point being strong. So you need the strength, but you also need the mobility. And that's why we're doing the mobility stuff as well on here. So make sure that you become rounded as a martial artist, rounded as a person. Look after your eating habits, look after your stress, look after your sleep, and then we build strength and movement on top of that. But if you haven't got if you're not eating right, if you're not sleeping right, and you're not managing your stress right, then you can work in a gym, but you're not actually growing or building muscle, because building muscle is a stress, and if you've already got a high level of stress, then the muscles aren't going to build. So it's important that you stay within a good range. So the next exercise we're going to do, we'll keep it fairly simple. We'll work on the shoulders, and what we're going to do is if you've ever been in the gym, you've done flies. So you've brought your arms out and down, just with a set of dumbbells, and we're just taking out to that position, down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take myself to that kind of position. I'm going to move over a wee bit so you can maybe see it a bit better. Okay, so I'm going to take myself to that position, hold that position. Okay, so if you look at strength, strength to weight, one of some of the strongest people are gymnasts. Okay, and if you look at a gymnast where they hold a crucifix, so they're on the rings and they hold a crucifix like that, and they just have a stoic face and they just hold a crucifix, that's a show of strength. Okay, so they're practicing to just get that hold of position. It takes a massive amount of strength to do that. So it's similar to that. Obviously we're not on a set of rings, and for most of us we'd struggle to do that, but we can certainly do this. Again, you can wrap, or you can use strength. But what happens is, if your strength isn't enough, that's the thing that's going to give out first. So if you want to, for me, if I want to do grip strength, I'll do grip strength. If I want to do shoulders, I'll do shoulders. But it's entirely up to you what way you work on. So this is the last of them. Okay, so I'm going to wrap. I'm going to get into position, and imagine I'm pulling, I'm doing that lift like that. But you're not using your other muscles, you're just using the muscles that we want to work on. So I'm going to come back a little bit so you can see, and that's the position you should be in. Okay, so we don't want to be forward, we want to be in strong position, head up, and then get your breathing and work into it. Okay, so I have to release to do the timer, and you're going through it. Now please don't just watch the video, do it. Just do it. Even if you're not if you haven't worked out what 100% is, which you should, because if you're totally fatigued at the end, that was 100%. Okay, so I'm going to get this on. We're going to get yourselves in a position, and let's go through this. And I'm going to count you in for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and let's go. And you hear the clicker going. Okay, so your knees are on the belt just like before, and then we're going to hold position. So the first 30 seconds, we're just hanging out there. We're putting a bit of pressure on, about 50%. And if you put a bit too much on, that's okay. But what this also does, it warms the muscle up. So you're not going directly into 100% at any time. So it's a really good way to avoid injury. And we're moving up to 75%. Sorry, I was talking too much there. So 75%, we're straight into it. And you should start to feel the muscle burning a little bit. Just try and control your facial muscles and try and control your breath. And we're going to change up in 10 seconds. So I'm going to give you a countdown for 5. You ready? And it's 100%, 100%. Go, 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 go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go. Push up, push up. Already it's starting to burn on me. I'm going to have to change my breathing patterns. Hand to go. Really push. And ease it out. And I don't know about you, but I can certainly feel that in my shoulders. Okay, so let's have a quick chat before we finish. So those are the 3 basic exercises. There's a lot more in that, but those are some basic exercises. I have one for each body group. And as I say, once a week, 25 minutes. That's all I do. It helps me with my cardio as well, because I do it like a HIIT session. So if you imagine I'm doing 30 minutes or 30 seconds at the 50%, then 75, then 100%. Now here's the thing, if I do one exercise and go straight into the next exercise, well that 50%, I'm still catching my breath. And then when it goes up to 75%, I'm going again, and then when I go up to 100%, I start to shake again. So what it does is it gives me a HIIT workout, which works my cardio, but it also works my strength. Is this the best workout ever created? It's the best workout that I've found, and I've done a lot of training over the years. When you start doing stuff with bad form, so the form was good there, reasonably good. You know, some of the experts out there, I'll say differently, but it was reasonably good. That was reasonably good form, and that was reasonably good form. But when you start lifting weights and rolling about and start throwing your back into things, that's when you get injured. So it's really about injury prevention. For me, I was always getting wee niggly injuries, not massive injuries, but niggly injuries in my strength workouts. For 5 years I've been doing this, I haven't had any injuries in it whatsoever. I feel I'm stronger now than I was 5 years ago, and that's not been derogatory towards any of the people who trained me in years gone by, but I think when you hit a certain age you need to change your training. But for me, because I have a busy schedule, 25 minutes, fantastic, get it done. And I can do it in my house, I can do it in my bedroom, I can do it in a hotel room, I can do it anywhere at all. I'm going to just show you one other wee bit of kit I have. Hopefully I haven't got it too tangled up. So a lot of people, if you're in a gym, you'll have seen a TRX. Is it TRX? Yeah, TRX, or a suspension trainer. So basically I make my own, and some of the guys in the dojo will know because I've seen it and I've showed them it and I've actually made it for it. So this is a suspension trainer. Okay, now what I have is I have a slip knot on it, which means I can make it bigger or smaller. So basically what I'll do is this end, I'll tie a knot in it, or several knots, or put something through here, put it over the top of a door in a hotel, and then that gives me my suspension trainer. There's the handles, yeah, 1 and 2. If I don't want to do that and I have a bar that I want the handles over, then basically I put, so there's the bar, whoops, I put this through here, and then that sits on the bar to give me handles. And you'll see I have a slip knot. So if I want it to be that length, you can see the length it is. If I want it to be shorter, I just move the slip knot on it. So that'll move quite freely, but when I put any pressure on it, it doesn't move, yeah, but then I can move it up. So look, I move it up and I put pressure on it again, and it does move. So it's just about the knots. These, you can make these out of wood. This is paracord cord, which is parachute cord, so it's quite strong. For my weight, it's fantastic. If you're a lot heavier than me, then you maybe need to use a heavier rope. So that's that. Hopefully you got a bit out of that. I'm going to put this on my YouTube channel, so for anybody who's watching it on my YouTube channel, this was something I was putting up on World Jiu-Jitsu for my personal students. Hope you've enjoyed it. Just comment below if you find it of use. Guys, if you want me to put together a program for you, please let me know. I'd love to put some programs together for you. I'm not specifically a strength and conditioning coach. I'm a martial arts coach. I have been for 40 years, you know, and being in that field and doing martial arts, obviously I have learned a lot in 40 years of that, about strength, about conditioning, about mobility, about breath work, and obviously about the functional movement of martial arts. So guys, if you have any questions, please comment below. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit like and subscribe maybe to my channel. I just want to get a bit of information out to people. I know what's worked for me, and I just want to make it. I've searched the internet, I've worked with piles of coaches, and I've just pulled back and just used what's really useful to me. So guys, hope you enjoyed it, and see you all soon.